Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the daily huddle on this Monday morning. We're a couple of minutes late, so thanks for waiting on us and joining us today. We want to get started. No, I don't. With our message and our question of the day. But before we do that, we are going to go over a very quick joke. So I want someone to ask me how I lost my job at the bank on the very first day.
Okay, Kimberly, how did you lose your job at the bank on the very first day?
Well, an old man asked me to check his balance, so I pushed him over.
You're bad.
And I lost my job. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to the Daily Huddle on this Monday morning in December. Still pretty warm here in Charleston, so I'm not sure about where the rest of you guys are, but it feels kind of like spring, not winter. But welcome today. We want to start out talking about our question of the day. So the question of the day is, what is the third enemy to retirement success? We know inflation, we know procrastination, and then the big question is the ... right? So we're going to talk about that today. But before we talk about that, we want to ask a few questions. So Gio, I'm going to start with you if that works. What time is it and what are you grateful for today?
The time is now, and today I am grateful for light.
Oh, awesome. I'm grateful for light as well. Haven't really thought about that, but sunshine and light make me very happy. So awesome. All right, who's next? Rashida, where are you and who will you hug today? Can you hear me, Rashida? All right, let's go to Chase. Chase, where are you and who will you hug today?
I'm exactly where I need to be, right here on the Daily Huddle. And who am I going to hug today?
I can't quite hear you, so maybe talk a little louder.
Oh, is my voice low?
It's low. It's low.
Is it
Just
better
scream. Just scream.
now? You know what? Hold on. Can you hear me?
Perfect. Perfect.
Yeah?
So where are you and who are you going to hug today?
That's funny. Now I can't hear you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, great. I had another audio thing on. I think it robbed half of the sound. I shut it off.
That's okay. Where are you?
So
and who are you going to hug today?
I'm right where I'm supposed to be on the Daily Huddle, right here. And I'm going to hug a good friend of mine today that's going through some tough times that I haven't seen in a while. So I'm going to make sure I get over there and hug them.
Awesome. That is a good friend, very much so. Sorrel, how are you?
I am the way I say I am. And right now, in this moment, I am powerful and extraordinary.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys again for joining us. My name is Kimberly. My husband is Zack. We host the Daily Huddle on Monday mornings, and we talk about all things money because money is what everybody loves to talk about, right? So our question today is, what is the third enemy to retirement success? we know inflation, we know procrastination, and then we have the ... for that third enemy. I'm actually going to, you won't see this often, right? I'm going to let Zack speak mostly today because this is his area of expertise and passion, and just loves this topic so much. He's done presentations for us, and the way he articulates it is great. So with that being said, introduce you to Zack.
Good morning, everyone. It's good to see all your faces again. So, yeah, this is I mean, money in general is a passion of ours, not really the attainment or keeping of it. We like to do that too, but more than anything, it is the educating others on the basics and the fundamentals of that. And like Kimberly mentioned, the number one enemy to retirement success is procrastination. If you don't contribute or you don't put together a plan, you're probably not going to be ready when time comes. The number two enemy to retirement success is inflation. And that's one that's kind of, we call it the silent killer of your retirement savings, because it's not really something we can plan around other than trying to outpace inflation with our rates of return and with those kind of things. But the number three enemy to retirement success is taxation. And it's part of life, right? We know that we all want to, we don't want to pay any more than we have to, but we want to pay our fair share. We want to do it the right way. So it's important to know the rules and to know the systems that are in place out there to help with tax planning when it comes to retirement success. One of the biggest problems that we have, and this started back in 1980s, and I'm a history teacher by trade. That's what, or by education. Middle school history is what I taught for a few years before I got into the financial services world. So I'm going to give you a little bit of a history lesson about one of the things that happened to us as a population that changed our savings habits without us actually knowing that. And I'll share a couple slides with you here in a second about that. But when it comes to taxation, how our funds are treated when we draw them out is incredibly important to look at. So I'm going to share my screen, and we're going to talk a little bit about the 401k. Most of you guys are familiar with it. It's the most popular, number one used vehicle for retirement planning. 401ks, IRAs, what we call qualified accounts. And a lot of the times, and every tool that's out there has a place. I think that's one of the things I'd say. I'm certainly not a one-size-fits-all person when it comes to advising in retirement, but knowing how each tool works is probably the most important thing, and having a plan to use them. So the 401k was never designed to be what it is today. So let's talk about the history of the 401k real quickly, and we'll go from here. I think you guys can see that. Can you see that, Kimberly? Mm-hmm. So the 401k, just basic facts about it. Number one, they started, as we see it here, when Congress passed the Revenue Act of 1978. Long story short, people were getting taxed on deferred compensation before they actually got it. And these were originally designed as more of a golden parachute for executives, things like that, to where future income could not be taxed until it was actually drawn. And then there was a guy named Ted Benna, who's known to be the father of the current 401k, and he was a benefits consultant, and he did a lot of research to help his corporate clients save money and also provide benefits that retained employees. So he read IRS code 401 subsection K and said, you know what, if we can do it for these golden parachutes, what if we can defer compensation for everyone and not pay tax on it, but also keep them involved with our company and retain them? That might be cheaper than the traditional pension plan. So he saw this, he took it to several of his customers and clients, and they were like, I don't know, that sounds a little IRS weird, they might not like it. So he did it himself with his own companies and started that. And I don't know if you guys have had much experience in code and law changing, but usually the federal government doesn't move really quickly unless there's a real strong benefit for them. And I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but I will tell you, if he did this in 1980, and in 1981, the IRS issued new rules about how we could do this and how we could use the 401k, that's something that to me says, wow, okay, there's something here. They saw it. What did they see? And there have been multiple studies done on this, and we'll talk about, but within a few years, most big companies had switched to 401ks from pension plans. Now, was that a good idea for the companies at that point in time? It was a good idea for the companies because guess what? 401ks are cheaper for them to offer than pension plans are. And were they trying to do something bad to? No, they weren't at all. It was just a cheaper route. IRS issued new rules, so they did that. So what we did, we all switched from that. Now, was it a good idea to defer taxes in 1980? This is the 1978 tax table. Take a look at that. The top tax bracket was 70%. Now, if I could defer taxes at 70% and pay them later, that's probably going to make sense.
Because later it should be
Later it
lower.
should be lower, right?
That
That was
was the goal.
historically huge. 1988, the tax bracket was much simpler, and so on and so forth. So I don't want to get lost in the weeds here. What I want you guys to understand is this right here. And what happened with the 401k is that companies stopped offering pensions because they were offering 401ks. And in the past, we had this three-legged stool of retirement that was what every plan was based off of, right? I'm going to have Social Security, I'm going to have my pension from my company, and I'm going to have my personal savings. And so therefore, I'll be stable. I've got all those kind of things. But when the companies stopped offering pension plans and they shifted that to 401ks, whose money is in a 401k for the most part?
Yours.
It's your money. So what happened was the 401k replaced our personal savings, and it also replaced the pension. So we took two of those legs and put them into one, and most of that's our money anyway. And then the third leg of Social Security, we don't really know. We've been hearing for years that it's insolvent, and the math doesn't look good for Social Security. So we don't usually use that in our planning. We want to be prepared whether it's there or not when we come to that point. So if you take a look at the future, what we've done to our average person that's out there going to work every day, thinking they're doing the right thing and they're contributing to their 401k, they're literally counting on one leg of that three-legged stool to be there for them at the end of the day. So Time Magazine wrote an article about this years ago, talking about what's going to happen when the first generation of people that didn't have pensions, that only had 401ks, hits retirement. And that's happening now. You see a lot more people that are going back to work, they're staying at work and doing those kind of things. So why do I say this? I'm not going to do this. I'm going to get out of this here and stop my share. Okay, so why do we talk about the 401k? It's not to say that it's a bad thing. It's to say it shouldn't be the only thing. And you need to know how your 401k, if you're in a teaching field or nursing or something like that, you're going to have a 403b. Same rules apply, same vehicle. It's just a different code because of the type of employee that you are. So 401ks we talk about, and we teach our people, there are three types of investments that we should consider when we put these things together. The first one is free money. Anybody have an idea when I say that you should invest free money, what that might be? Kimberly, go ahead and show it. What is it?
Free money is like a match on your 401k. The company is giving you 4% if you put in 4%. That is free money. Take it all day long.
Yeah, the general rule of thumb is if your company or your employer offers a match, you should be contributing up to that match to make sure you maximize the free money. If I put in $1 and they put in $1, I'm guaranteed a 50% rate of return on my investment of my dollar, right? Does that make sense? So after free money, there's another category of money. What's that? 100%, right? Whatever. 50% of the money's there.
It is Monday morning, right?
Yeah.
We forgive you.
So, but that's the free money portion. The next portion is tax-free money. And there are multiple tax-free vehicles that you can use that are out there. There are some that even inside qualified accounts, you're familiar with Roths, you're familiar with those kind of things, municipal bonds, life insurance, all those are different vehicles that you can have a tax-free income stream. And then after that, after those two are funded properly, then you want to go to taxable money, which is your traditional stocks, bonds, accounts that are going to,
Overfunding your 401k.
Yeah. Overfunding your 401k is considered taxable in the long run. So we talk about those kind of things because it's not how much you keep, it's not how much you earn in retirement, it's how much you keep. So a lot of people don't realize that their 401k is a tax Band-Aid. And so if we throw all of our eggs in that basket, and let's say, right, we've heard a lot of things about the economy and what's going on. What's the general feeling out there? Do we think taxes are going to go up or go down for the individual?
I think if you took a poll, which obviously we aren't doing at this moment, but I think most people that you ask, if you say, do you feel like taxes are going up, staying the same, or going down in the near future, they're going to say they're going up. Taxes are going to have to go up, right? We see that and we hear that. So I think that would be the answer.
Yeah. So as with anything, we want to have a hedge, right? We don't want to have all of our eggs in one basket. We want to make sure that we have some of our income coming out that is going to perform better if taxes go down, right? And that's the plan of the 401k. The idea is that I defer my taxes today so that I can pay them later when I'm in a lower tax bracket, right? And then we also want to have some that's going to perform better if taxes go up. So we want to have another hedge or another account of some sort that's going to allow me to look at the current state of the economy when I retire and say, which bucket do I need to reach into first? And so I think that's important for people to understand, is that a 401k is a good thing. It's not meant to be the only thing. And what we find when we spend a lot of time with folks out there in the world we're in now is that we feel like our companies are taking care of us, and they all.
We just don't know any better. We don't know that there are other options. It's when I was a school teacher, we had a 403b, which is basically the same thing, right? But when I was a school teacher, I did the 403b because that's what you do, right? And I checked the boxes to invest based on what the people beside me were doing. I had no idea. I think really, truly, that's probably the majority of Americans is, this is what I'm supposed to do. This is offered to me. I'm going to do this as much as I can put in. I'm going to check the boxes and then I'm going to set it and forget it. So I just think it's, for the most part, probably lack of education, which is something that I did mean to interrupt, but maybe I didn't mean to interrupt. But
no, it's and that's why we do what we do, right? So if I'm putting in all of my money into a tax deferred vehicle like a 401k, and my tax bracket today is somewhere between 28 and 32%, like it is for most average folks, and obviously with deductions and other things, it can come down from that. But let's say that average tax bracket starts to tick back up again. And I've gone my entire career dumping money into this tax deferred bucket, deferring taxes at 15%, at 20%, at 25%, at 30%, to then at the time of retirement have to dip in. And when I reach in and take out a $70,000 income, then I've got to pay whatever the current tax rate is at that point in time to the federal government to get my money out, because it's not been taxed. And so we talk about planning from that perspective. So we know, hey, wow, right now I want to go to this bucket and pull out some tax-free income because I don't want to do that yet. Or I want to do that first. So it's good to understand you need more than one leg to stand on in retirement. And that and where we are with what's going on in our world with employee retention plans and those kind of things. Most of the money that you've got there in your 401k, 403b, whatever, falls in that personal savings category. So we really have to have other vehicles and just other ways to do that. So that's what I wanted you guys to see, was really that three-legged stool and what it looks like now moving forward, and understand that there are things to learn and questions to ask. And it's always good to know a little bit of history. I'm a little nerdy when it comes to that. I like to know how we got where we got, not just where we are, right? I want to know what brought us here. Helps me to understand and to teach people how to do things differently. So,
but I think it's also important to think about, and I use this example with clients all the time, is if you have $1 million in your 401k and that's your goal, and you're going to retire off of it and pull your income or whatever your bucket number is for that, how much do you actually have? Mm-hmm. And I think that question is always, it depends, right? It depends on the tax bracket. So it's important to understand, because education is key. Education empowers you to make your own choices and to understand what those options are. So then you can maybe have some defensive strategies or different strategies or some tax-free buckets and really understand the difference in those options. And like Zack said, every investment product out there has a place, and every investment product has a purpose. The key is that you probably need a couple couple of different options. So with that being said, it's 9:23. So we're going to open it up to you guys. And let's just take some questions and have some dialogue and go further with this. Anybody have any questions to start?
I like seeing everybody instead of seeing just me.
Hey, Cece, you have a question?
Good morning. Yes,
Good
I have
morning.
a question. Yes, what about those individuals who have not contributed into that pension plan or, retirement, quote unquote, plan, and they are senior citizens now? What do they do? And they're not, able to generate enough income to, start a savings for their future. What do those individuals do?
So you're talking about folks that are already at retirement age and they're on a set income and they don't have time to accumulate to have a passive income or draw down on something else. Is that what you're asking about? What should they do?
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. Well, there are a lot of different things that can be done to create an income stream. And one of the things that folks have done over the years is they've done things like pay off their homes. As thinking that was going to get them to where they needed to get in retirement, and they realize at the end of the day they don't have an income stream. They might have a place to live that's paid for, and so there are a couple different things folks can do, in my opinion. One is it can always find a hobby or something that they enjoy that they can actually create an income stream from.
Because you don't have time to save it,
Mm-hmm.
to use it.
Yeah, so you can create an income stream, and if it is someone that has spent 30 or 40 years paying their house off and they have an asset there are great tools that, when applied properly, can turn their equity in their home into an income stream and guarantee them the ability to live in that home as long as they want to, via reverse mortgages and other things like that. So, but again, it's applied properly and talking to somebody that understands how those things work. So there are tools that can be used to look at the entire picture and take what they have done and turn that into income. But there are also all kinds of great opportunities to enjoy yourself and be around like-minded people, but also create an income stream. And so I would, we call it a side hustle, but if you're retired, it's something you do for fun to make a little bit of extra cash or even make a lot of cash, depending on how much time you have to invest and how you get that leadership to build that income stream. So
it's definitely a tougher place for sure. But I think a reverse mortgage is, as long as you own a property and have the ability to do so, I think it's a great option in that situation. Laura, see your hand.
Hi,
Hey,
good
how are
morning. Good morning, everyone. What is the difference between the retirement plan and the 401k?
So a retirement plan in the marketplace a lot of times is a product that people charge for, and it's just literally you sit down, somebody takes a financial inventory, as we call it, and then they put together a plan to use what you've got and what you can save to get you where you want to get. So a plan is just simply a roadmap, right? And it would include a 401k as a piece of that plan. We don't charge for that plan. It's because that's the way we have done our business, and our business model is that we feel that making the plan more accessible to folks is going to make them more likely to have one. But there are people that it's a great market, it's a great marketplace, and they do well. Then that pay for a plan. There are planners, CFPs, and other things. Not taking anything away from their business. But our goal is to provide those plans to people so they have one. Secondly, on that question is a 401k is just a piece of that plan. It's a tool, it's part of it. So, and that's one of the reasons that we talk about this, is because what we want to get across is that just because you have a 401k doesn't mean you have a retirement plan. Does that answer your question?
And I think also,
Yes.
depending on who you're talking to, they might use those words in that conversation simultaneously. They might say 401k plan, or they might say retirement plan, or pension is my retirement plan. That they might be talking about all of the same things. So I think it depends on the context of the conversation too.
Yeah.
Hey guys.
Hey, how are you?
Quickly, what's your take on the insurance that, I mean, I have a term insurance with somewhat of personal banking, with a personal banking attached to it.
Mhm.
And you could, I mean, when I got it, you basically can take money out of it, but what would be a proper percentage of growth in that money? I mean, knowing that when you get it you could take money out of it, but you need to put the money back in there to keep it growing.
Mhm.
What's your take on that, basically on that product, and what's the return should be on that?
I think it's funny because Zach and I are fighting to who's going to answer this question. I'm like, so go ahead, and then I'll
I think that
interrupt you.
it's hard to answer that question without seeing the entire picture about how that's being applied.
Because there are multiple types.
And what the policy, what the type of product it is. So their rates of return are going to vary, right? Inside the life insurance world, they're guaranteed rates of return, which are lower.
They're variable products,
they're
index products.
Indexes that track the market with caps on them. And then there are variable products that ride the market up and down. And at each level of growth potential, your risk potential also increases, right? So the more potential you have for growth, the less protection you have against downside. So I think those tools are great, and I love life insurance being used as part of a financial plan. The bank on yourself concept is really kind of a tricky one because it's great for the right person, but a lot of times you have to have the cash to fund the product to then be able to borrow the money back to use it that way, right? So I'm happy to answer questions about specifically that, but fixed rates of return are going to be in that 1-2% range. If you're in an indexed product, they're probably going to illustrate, and you can expect rates of return in that 6% range. And then in the variable world, it's been a roller coaster lately. So
You have market type returns.
you have market type returns where you can, they'll illustrate upwards of 10%, and but your floor is negative, whatever the market does.
So I think long answer to that question, and then we'll wrap it up for the day. First of all, I put our email addresses and our phone numbers in the chat. So if you guys want to have a private conversation and you want us to review the plans that you currently have, we're happy to do so. We love life insurance. We do that very much so. We think it's a great tool. We think it's a great tax-free tool as long as it's structured properly. Sometimes, a lot of times, the product or the policies that we see, they're sold for that tax-free income, but they aren't funded for the tax-free income. So it's not really going to work the way that people think it is. So we can answer all of those questions. I know Chase asked a few questions a few weeks ago about bank on yourself and some of that stuff. So it's definitely upcoming. I just don't know if we want to finish the year with it or start the year with it. So we will do a deep dive into those products because there's so many different ones. But any personal specific questions, or you want a free review or a free meeting with us, then reach out and we're happy to help you.
Yeah, and we may also put together something after the first of the year that where we can spend invitation for you guys to come and spend more than 12 to 15 minutes with us, and that'll give us an opportunity to dive deeply into those kind of concepts more so than we can this morning. So great to see you guys.
Yeah, thanks for joining us today. We're going to finish with our 8 tenets. First one is to love. It is the season of love, right? Maybe not, but for me it is, right? Because it's Christmas and family and everybody's coming in town. Laugh out loud, enjoy yourself, enjoy your life. It makes everything better. Stress less, eat mostly plant-based, give. It is a season of giving for sure. Sleep, even though there's tons of Christmas activities and parties and things to do, make sure that you get your proper sleep. Move your body, dance at those Christmas parties, and then check yourself before you wreck yourself. So thank you guys for joining us today. Good to see all of you, and we'll see you next Monday and tomorrow on Daily Huddle.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
One love, guys. One love.
Bye.
Love you all. Love you
Thank you,
all.
everyone.
Peace,
Bye.
peace and blessings. Peace and blessings. Thank you so much.